everyone, welcome to another interesting episode of the Global Health Pharmacist podcast. And not only will it be interesting, it will also be educative because, that is the main aim of this podcast from the get-go. And I'm just excited to be here again talking to you because this is a new phase of the podcast. Phase as in PHASE. And I've talked in details about this on the last episode. So if you haven't listened to that, please go ahead and listen to the name change episode, where I reintroduce the Global Health Pharmacist podcast, what it entails now, the little changes that have occurred. And of course, I mentioned that there would be some programs, or should I say series, that would remain from the old podcast name. All right. And one of such is the drug discovery series, which I am continuing on today's episode. So today, I will be talking about a drug called Nystatin. It's an antifungal, alright? So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Nystatin is an antifungal, and that in itself suggests that it fights against fungal infections. Now, fungal infections are caused by the microorganisms called fungi, or some people call it fungi. Potato, alright? Yes. These microorganisms cause infections such as oral thrush, vaginal candidiasis. They are very common. Oral thrush, especially in children, or some people that use inhaled corticosteroids, right? And vaginal candidiasis majorly in women and in immunocompromised people like pregnant women. Those cheesy like discharges that come from the vagina, itching with foul smell. Yes, that's candidiasis. So the microorganism in question, the culprit, is the Candida albicans. So let's dive into the story of how Nystatin came to be. It is quite interesting, really. I talked on the first episode of the drug discovery series that drugs actually come into being either by serendipity, that is, it just happened, nobody was looking really, but actually somebody paid attention, right? Just like the case of penicillin, where Alexander Fleming just noticed that golden brown fungi growing on his petri dish. He didn't plan it, but it kind of happened and he noticed, and that gave birth to penicillin, right? Yes. But others, out of scientific curiosity, go further to actually try and combine things together, or go searching, go digging for these medications. They spend days, months, years in the lab tweaking chemicals and natural compounds to actually arrive at solutions to different infections. Such is the case of Nystatin. It was actually brought about by a blend of scientific curiosity and serendipity by two brilliant women who changed the antifungal game forever. You see, Nystatin, the fungus fighting breakthrough, was the first antifungal medication ever discovered, okay? Now, let's go to the story proper. In the early 1950s, America was gripped by the antibiotic fever. Penicillin had revolutionized medicine, and researchers were racing to find the next magic bullet. You can learn all about how penicillin was discovered on that episode about penicillin. That was the second drug discovery series. So penicillin then was like the holy grail of medicines. It was the magic bullet at the time. Everybody wanted to have it. It was instrumental in the World War back then. World War II helped to reduce the death toll of soldiers. But amid the excitement, fungal infections came up, especially ones caused by Candida albicans, and they were wreaking havoc, particularly in immunocompromised patients taking antibiotics. What these antibiotics do is they actually kill bacteria, right? Just like penicillin, it actually is a fungi itself. The organism was Penicillium notatum. Later on, Penicillium chrysogenum was also discovered. to produce penicillin. So it's like survival of the fittest thing, a natural enemy kind of situation where the fungi is trying to survive, the bacteria is also trying to survive. So one is trying to overpopulate the other, kill the other. So this was what the scientists of then took advantage of to produce penicillin, which was killing bacteria. But on the flip side, this penicillin was killing both the good and bad bacteria, because there was actually the good bacteria that was helping maintaining the normal flora of the body. I've talked about normal floras on previous episodes, so please do well to listen to all the previous episodes of the podcast to get the dates, okay? And that's where our unsung heroes enter the scene. Meet Elizabeth Hazen and Rachel Brown. These are two quietly determined scientists that worked for the New York State Department of Health. Elizabeth Hazen was a microbiologist who worked in New York, while Rachel Fuller Brown was a biochemist who worked out of state. So she wasn't based in New York, okay? But she still worked for the New York State Department of Health at the time. Elizabeth Hazen was the one who found this new promising bacterium in a soil sample from a French dairy farm. The bacterium was initially named Streptomyces norsei, after Jessie Norse, the wife of the farm owner. Hazen and Brown then characterized the antifungal agent produced by the bacteria and named it Nystatin. Okay, see, it's a bacteria actually that was killing the fungi in this case, unlike the penicillin that was a fungi killing a bacteria. You see how scientists use knowledge to manipulate the natural things in our environment to the human advantage. I think they deserve some respect, some accolades and all of that, right? Yeah. Back to Elizabeth and Rachel. Their collaboration wasn't digital. I mean, in the 1950s, there was little or no digital footprint anywhere. It was postal. They communicated via mail, okay? Hazen dug through dirt, okay, until she found that microorganism in a friend's farm in Virginia and named it soil sample 38, because they had been sending soil samples back and forth. Oh, check the soil sample, if it contains any useful microorganism, check that, until they got to number 38. The ordinary looking dirt from that ground in Virginia actually produced something extraordinary. It produced the bacteria that could stop Candida albicans cold. Rachel Brown was stunned. They decided together to name the new drug Nystatin, and it was coined by combining the name New York State, because they worked for the New York State Department of Health, with a suffix "in", which was common with antibiotics, like our example penicillin, "in" that ended it. They decided to name it Nystatin, spelled Nystatin. But here is where it gets even better. Nystatin wasn't just the first effective antifungal medication. It was actually the first that could be safely used in humans without harming the body cells. It treated everything from oral thrush to diaper rash to fungal infections in cancer patients. And unlike antibiotics, it targeted fungi directly without disturbing beneficial bacteria. And what's the fun twist here? Nystatin had cosmetic applications too. It could be used to preserve artworks from mold damage. Yes, they literally saved oil paintings back then. So they were not only used by sick people, they were actually used by art dealers as well, by artists. So it had value apart from the medicinal use, okay? Now, Hazel and Brown patented the drug and got $13 million for their patent. But the surprising thing is that they didn't use this money for personal gain. Instead, they ensured that the royalties would fund scientific research that are similar to this. And like I like to pick morals from my drug discovery series. So what's the moral of today's drug discovery series. Number 1. Behind every pill is a story. I've said it. Of curiosity, of collaboration, and grit. And sometimes the most powerful discoveries are made not in high-tech labs, but with dirt, test tubes, and snail mail determination. Imagine the energy that has gone into this for these women to do this. Sending things via mail, you know how it takes time. You send sample 1 from New York State to outside of New York. The biochemist there does a test on it and sends a mail back, which will be delivered days after. Oh, there's nothing here, let's try again. So you get to sample number 38 that gave what you needed. I think that is some determination there and collaboration, like intentionality. And that is what scientists of today should also have. And we are lucky now. There are better ways. You could send things via DHL, and within days, no matter the country, you get them. You can track whatever you're sending. We have better technologies now. We have better equipment for research, although there are still challenges depending on location. But you get what I'm saying, right? There is need for determination, because literally the fate of the world still rests on scientists to discover more cures to diseases. So that's the moral from today's story. Collaboration always helps in science. No scientist can do it alone. That is why most Nobel Prizes are not won alone. They are usually shared, because scientists work better in a team, okay? And this money, this funding research, this patent money was actually donated back for more science. These women could have made themselves rich from it. I mean, there are many people that discovered different technological advances that became rich just by that. But these women just decided that this money we got for this patent, we better pump it back into research. And I'm sure several other drugs, solutions have come from that seed money. So we should also learn from that. We should do things beyond ourselves. Always be selfless. It helps, really. You may not get the reward directly, but you never be forgotten. I mean, now Elizabeth Lee Hazen and Rachel Fuller Brown will never be forgotten because of that selfless act that they did. Yeah. And that is what I have for you on today's episode of the Global Health Pharmacist podcast. I hope you learned a thing or two. Have you ever come across the drug Nystatin? Have you used it for anything? Just tell me in the comments what you think about the story as well. Or if there is this particular medication that you actually want to know how it was discovered and all of that, please leave it in the comments. I will be sure to answer you. Thank you so much for your support thus far. Like I always say, please endeavor to share, to like, to comment, to subscribe to this podcast. Follow on all social media. The name is the Global Health Pharmacist podcast on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. I'm still fan podcaster on X, and I am Bemisola Adebisi on LinkedIn. You can forward your questions, your calls for collaboration to the mail at globalhealthpharmacistpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, you can also use the old mail, which is antipharmacistpodcast@gmail.com. I've said that correspondences will go on in both mails for now, okay, until further notice. Expect more interesting, educative episodes and conversations on this podcast. As always, I always give the best. Okay, you must know about your health, your medications, and where better to know it than on the Global Health Pharmacist podcast from your favorite global health pharmacist, G. And this is me saying thank you so much for listening up to this point. Till next time, stay healthy and God bless you. Bye.